No other Roman road in Britain goes all kinky like this one. What on earth was going on here? And did this road ever go straight on? Watch this to find out.
This week we are looking at a peculiar Roman road that takes an astonishing deviation away from the normal straight alignments, as you're probably seeing now with some sort of state-of-the-art graphics. But we're also looking at a fascinating discovery made by a YouTube filmmaker, providing evidence that YouTube antiquarians can add value to the historical record. We're not just twaddling around spouting nonsense. And that YouTube filmmaker is none other than Paul Whitewick, and he'll be joining us shortly. We're also joined by hedleythorne from Wessex Ways and hedleythorne.com. Now, Hedley hasn't made any discoveries at all, zero, zilch, nothing. But he does have a very big drone, and he's offered to lend it to us today to help us explain this for YouTube attention spans. Let's have a look at yours.
One's bigger than yours. This is Alfred.
We are looking at M43, the Roman road from Winchester,
Venter Bulgarum,
to Cirencester,
Corinium,
via Marlborough.
It's great having Hedley here with us today to help us with the pronunciations. We're flying over the Roman road before it approaches the kinky bit. And please ignore Paul down there, who we haven't yet found in the video narrative. You can see at the top the Roman road alignment is still in use as a road today before it runs across this parkland as a magnificent agger.
We're at Connaught Park, where the road makes a sudden and dramatic sharp turn west. Thereafter, it curves around the deep valley of Hippenscombe, and it's long been assumed to be the reason for the deviation before picking up the alignment again near Tidcombe. And it does this with a series of short, straight alignments. And it is in use today, and it's known as Chute Causeway, chute being the Old Welsh for wood or forest.
So, McGarry... Marjorie gets quite excited about this road, noting it's the height of its agger and the straight alignments as it detours round the valley. But he doesn't question for one moment why it is making this detour, just accepting it's the depth of the valley again. Actually, where is Paul? He should be here by now.
No, I don't know. Have you checked the hedges?
Where is Paul Whitewick? Where is he? Is Paul Whitewick in a hedge? Well, welcome to WC21 UK Productions Limited, Paul. It's great to have you here.
Thank you.
And Paul's discovery that we're looking at here today is so fantastic. I really feel that it needs the extra exposure that we could give it on this channel. Over to Paul to tell us the story of his discovery.
So we've known about this Roman road for a long time, and we've known about its deviation around Chute Causeway in a semicircle. And I've always found that really curious, why no one really talks about it. It's just accepted. Why would you not head to the apex of that curve? So I dug a bit deeper and started looking on the ground myself. And to have a look at what I've discovered, we need to head down to Grimsditch, which is about 20 yards down that hill.
Right, Paul, is it time to say it?
Yes.
And can I do it?
Yes.
Right, folks, it's really time to step things up a gear.
It's really time to step things up a gear.
It's time to step things up a gear.
Right, Paul, can you explain what this is? I obviously know what this is, but can you explain for them lot in there?
This is Grimsditch. So it's a long sort of linear ditch and bank. And it's around about early Iron Age, late Bronze Age, sort of 500, 600 BC. And it runs parallel to the now Roman road that did deviate. So I kind of thought to myself, if this Roman road did go straight on initially, would there be a some kind of cut in Grimm's Ditch.
3, 2, 1. I do love this voiceover recorder. Okay, we're heading off along Grimm's Ditch now to take a look at Paul's discovery, which I do predict is going to be clearer to us on the ground than it's going to come across on video. And just to let you know, folks, this is private land, so don't try this at home. Huge thanks to Paul for arranging access, and thanks to Ed who permitted it.
Hedley, did you expect it to be this far?
No, I was led to believe it is a short, comfortable day with very little in the way of obstructive walking.
We have made it to Paul's discovery. So Paul, tell us all about it.
So we've just walked along Grimm's Ditch to this spot, and the feeling I had is if the road did originally go straight on, they would have cut through Grimm's Ditch. So I lined up on the map the route that it would have gone straight, walked along Grimm's Ditch to that point, and lo and behold, right here behind us, we've got a cut in Grimm's Ditch which lines up perfectly with the Roman road.
And it has got that typical Roman sort of terraced feel to it because of the steepness of the slope, hasn't it?
Yeah, we're in a relatively new bit of woodland, I guess, so there's a lot that's been eroded away here over the years, but as the LiDAR shows, and as you can see just down there behind us to the left, there is a terrace, a clear terrace. So whether this was an early iteration perhaps, and maybe this was sort of a military route in the very early Roman era, and they said, right, okay, well it's actually too steep for the normal Circus Publicus thereafter, and they built the deviation all around Chute Causeway. I guess we're never going to know.
So is your thought process that once everyday travel sort of came in, and we're talking, you know, moving people and consumer goods, that it just became easier to take this deviation around the ridgetop?
I think so, yeah. It's very difficult to work out the gradient without any kind of means to do that, but I think the Romans would have done at worst 1 in 4 and then later 1 in 6. So I think that sort of traversed over time, and yeah, exactly that. After the military were here and they're more established and set up, well then yeah, that route for the cart and the transport and whatever else was much easier one to take.
So we've got the cut through of Grimm's Ditch, and we've got the LiDAR, which you're probably looking at as some sort of overlay at this point. Did you find any other evidence along the line of this proposed alignment of the first road?
Close to zero. We had a look at the north end, we had a look at the LiDAR. Again, we had a look where it would have gone as a straight line, and there's 1 or 2 tenuous bits of, oh, could that be a dip in the landscape, a terrace in the landscape, but nothing as clear as this. So this is too much of a coincidence in itself to line up, to cut through Grimm's Ditch and be an exact alignment of the Roman road, but this is all we have. So did they even use this route, or was it just a first build? They did something here, because why would you not take the route to the apex of this deviation? Why would you take an immediate deviation here?
So possibly this was not even a first iteration, it was an attempt, and they thought, sod this, effectively, and went round the causeway instead.
Yeah, that could be as simple as that.
I think the proof here that Paul has identified is quite convincing, and McGarry didn't even notice it.
Margery.
It's Marjorie.
I say McGarry.
I say Margery.
And I say Marjorie. I say McGarry.
Paul, is there any possibility that we've been wrong about this road all along, and that Chute Causeway is post-Roman, and that what we're looking at here is the actual Roman road? What do you think about that?
I don't know. I think the only way to really find out would be to dig a hole in the ground here by proper archaeological means, but I do think that at whatever period of time during the Roman period, soon after it started, Chute Causeway was the Roman road. There's too much evidence for it. It's a good agger, it's built in straight sections around the curve, and of course there are quarries along that route.
Ah, Roman quarries. Any chance we could have a look at those, Paul?
Sure we can.
How'd you do that, Paul?
Well, it just happens when you have 100,000 subscribers.
We've forgotten about Hedley. We've left him at Grimm's Ditch.
Should I do the whole...
Yeah, let's make it happen.
Where are all the trees? YouTubers. Swear to God.
Right, Paul, so this is the quarry.
This is one of a few quarries. This is the biggest by a long way. It's huge, and it runs alongside the top of the hill. There is the Chute Causeway, the accepted deviation, the accepted Roman road, and this runs alongside it, so it really does sort of add up that this is a Roman quarry.
We don't know that it's Roman, but what else would it be?
I think most academics say that, yeah, it is likely to be Roman. I don't think anyone's actually done any digging here to sort of ascertain that, but yeah, it runs alongside the Roman road, and yeah, sort of parallel to it, and there's a few more that run parallel to it as well.
Okay, so next we set off for Fosbury Iron Age Hillfort so that we could look down into Hippenscombe Bottom and the course of Paul's proposed first iteration of M43. It was a great excuse for Hedley to get Alfred up again, which he was itching to do. So what exactly happened here? Did they make a first attempt to build the road straight through the valley, only to then give up and decide to follow the ridge top? Possibly reusing an Iron Age trackway, if we're to believe the ravings of MC Bishop. Anyhow, apologies for the next sequence where we do lapse into a little bit of laddish and unwoke space humour. Apologies too for the atmospherics, it's authentic YouTubing.
We're now on the top of Fosbury Iron Age Hillfort, and Paul's proposed first iteration of M43 is down there in the valley below us.
And of course, being up here is another great excuse for me to get my big one up.
And the relationship between Paul's proposed road and the Hillfort fits as well, because Roman roads frequently used hillforts, Iron Age hillforts, as an alignment site. They rarely went through them, they ran by them.
Oh no, Hedley, can't you get it up? Looks like there's going to be a standoff between that helicopter and Hedley's drone. Oh, that's beautiful, isn't it?
It's lovely, isn't it? Let's go forward a little bit.
And I'd just like to thank hedleythorne for the amazing B-roll footage that he has provided us with today with his big one. Well, that's been great, and I'd like to say thanks to Paul and Hedley, and well done to Paul, showing the value of YouTube antiquarianism. What are you doing, Paul?
I'm just counting my subscribers. 106,428.
Hang on a minute. 640.
386.